Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's a serious matters on Olive TV. Well, still very, very hot in the news is the willingness of the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu even after the court had discharged him of all charges that were put against, especially the charges of terrorism, and then, of course, describing the abduction of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to back to Nigeria as being illegal and all of that. But then the federal government has refused to let him go, and of course we talked about this on Serious Matters yesterday, and so we'll be continuing from where we stopped yesterday, being a matter that has been on, a serious matter that's making the round at the moment. Of course, Nnamdi Kanu had been his case has been on for quite some time, and he's been held in the DSS custody. But then recently he was being released about on the 13th of October, and up till now he's not been released. The court set him free, but then he's not been released by the federal government. Okay, so the federal government had put forward their reasons why they did not, or why they are not releasing him. They insist he is a threat to national security, as court reserves ruling on request to stay execution of judgment. The federal government yesterday adduced, of course, I told you yesterday from what the video I did yesterday, I said there's going to be a continuation, there's going to be an update, and because the court only gave them till 12 noon yesterday, and so up to we just got a detail of the updates after what happened now. Yesterday, the federal government adduced reasons it has not obeyed the judgment of the Court of Appeal that the release of leaders of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu from detention. Government in a fresh affidavit filed before the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal maintained that Kanu posed a flight threat risk, insisting that he would escape from the country as soon as he was freed from detention. The affidavit was attached in support of an application seeking to stay the execution of the appellate court verdict that quashed the entire 15-count terrorism charges the federal government preferred against the embattled IPOB leader. Well, though I find that a bit funny, saying that somebody will flee the country. If you were able to watch him, to even watch him as far as, outside the shores of Nigeria, then how come you are not now going to be able to watch him, keep a watch on him? Sincerely speaking, whenever we do things like that, whenever we make statements like this, it exposes our weaknesses. That means that we do not have borders that can contain, people in this country, that if anybody wants to leave this country, somebody must know about it. That means that as a nation, we can't keep a watch on somebody for him not to leave this country. So, but then let's just move on. Arguing the application yesterday, an assistant state counsel in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. David Kwase, told the court that the case against Kanu bordered on national security. Kwase argued that Kanu's fundamental rights should not supersede the interest of the nation, relying on the decided case law in Federal Republic of Nigeria versus Asari Dokubo. The federal government argued that once a case touched on national security, the right of the individual affected took secondary place. It is important to appreciate the government of this position in our application. The respondent is a flight risk person, and one of the grounds of our application is that this matter touches on national security of the state. We further rely on the case of FRN versus that's FRN versus Asari Dokubo, where the Supreme Court held that when national security is threatened, or when there is likelihood of it being threatened, human rights take second place. In other words, there won't be an issue of human rights. Now, FRN simply means Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me make sure you let that know, but then I have it as an acronym here. Okay, well, once there is a threat to national security, human rights of any individual can be suspended until such threat is taken care of. Once security of the nation is in jeopardy, the individual right may not even exist. The government lawyers argue. But then, does that also supersede peace in the land? Because I feel that more damage had been done since this guy had been arrested than was done when he wasn't. I'm not saying that okay, he should go out and constitute a nuisance outside there. Or no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not in support of trampling on human rights and all of that. But then I'm saying that we should also consider the other side, the damage to the average person who just woke up in his house and then just says, I'm going to work, I'm going to my business place. And some people called ESN or unknown gunmen just come firing, guns, their guns, and then somebody just gets hit. I think we are the nation, not the landmass. We are the nation. It's the people in Nigeria that makes up the nation. And so when we talk about the security of the people, then we should also consider using him as a kind of succor of making that national security a reality, or one that can be achieved or achievable. To having a peaceful a peaceful nation becomes achievable when we now use him to say, okay. But if we can quash the issue of, okay, what are you agitating for? Okay, we don't want this to happen, we don't want that thing to happen, and all of that. But then we still want to consider not just Nnamdi Kanu, but the innocent lives that could be touched. And please mind you, I said there are other issues too. And if we will pay more attention to issues that are ravaging the country, such as the flood that we did not write letter to, that is ravaging the country at the moment, if we will pay attention to them, the way we are paying attention to the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, then we will have less problems. If we will pay attention to the issue of electricity in Nigeria, the way we are paying to Nnamdi Kanu, the way we are going about it, then we will have less issues. If we will pay attention to the security of Nigeria, the security, getting rid of bandits and kidnappers and these killer headsmen all over the place, the way we are, pinning down on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, then we'll have a better nation. We'll probably not even be having all these issues that we are having. And that's the truth. And what is all this agitation? Why all this agitation? Have we even gone to the root of, why this agitation? Why will somebody say, why would we are together, we're living together in a house. We're living together in a house. We agreed that we're going to live together. That was the agreement. In fact, there was no agreement that at a point in time we're going to go our separate ways. I think that one of the reasons why one person or two might decide that I'm not living in this house with you again is because the person might have been maligned. There must have been, they must have, the fairness on the side of that person might have been trampled upon. The person might have been taken granted of. You understand? Quite a number of things must have set in, which of course I think we should pay attention to. In furtherance to be able to achieve national unity. So if we're able to get national unity, national security becomes even secondary, because it won't even come up. If we're able to get national unity, then national security becomes secondary. Dealing with national security without touching national unity, national peace, is like trying to prune. You want to get rid of a tree, of an Iroquois tree, you are pruning the branches. You only make it grow bigger. So I am saying on this show that we will do much better if we would pay attention, if we would kind of like hit certain matters, fundamental issues, so that together we can achieve national unity. Cohabitation will become easy and peaceful. There will be no issue of his Fulani, his Hausa, his Yoruba, his Igbo, his this or that. No. But once one person or one group is being maligned, because it's Igbo or because it's this, if for instance we talk about oil theft, Talk about oil theft. And I saw a video earlier on today, and I'm, wow, it's disheartening to see how much oil is being stolen out of this country on a daily basis, or whenever they steal them. It's alarming. No wonder we are where we are as a nation. Nothing is left. Nothing is left. I wasn't surprised when I saw Governor Obaseki's news yesterday saying Nigeria will break if APC continues. It's not just about the party. They are clueless. They don't know. They don't have a solution. That's why their presidential candidate came up and said, it's my turn. Turn to do what? And the spokesman did not help matters by coming up to say that Tinubu will rule Nigeria the way Buhari is leading Nigeria. Is that not and words are powerful. You had better not say some things than now say them and now looking for a way to, not even when it has become a slogan. Well, besides, he told the court that intelligence reports in government's possession indicated that releasing the IPOB leader from detention would worsen the security situation in the southeast. The defendant has shown that he has the capacity to jump bail or to escape from lawful custody. There is reasonable intelligence that the enforcement of judgment of this court, pending determination of our appeal at the Supreme Court, may impact negatively on the declining security in the east. And personally, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Sincerely speaking, I don't agree with that. Now look at this. Look at this. There was an increase in oil theft when the contract of Tompolo, the contract of security on that side, was taken away from Tompolo until it was being restored now recently. Until it was being restored now. There was an increase in oil theft. Now it's reducing again because of him. That's in a way, I just use that to say that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, the security situation on that side will not increase. Because some of these things that I just feel this is a serious matter. So it's just thinking loud. I feel that one of the reasons why we have all these things, all these people killing and this maiming, some people call unknown gunmen and all of that. Some of them act as a result of grievances. They are just being grieved, like our guy is in detention and all of that. Let us keep pinching them to show that. And pinching is taking lives. Pinching people, pinching the government. You are pinching the federal, they are pinching the federal government. But it is the locals, the indigenes, that are feeling the pain. If you want to pinch, go and pinch them in Abuja. Go and pinch them in the courts. Now, that's just on the lighter mode. But then this issue of security, I feel it should be handled, with lots of wisdom and all of that. No court can close its eyes on activities happening around it. As we speak, the entire social media is awash with threats to security in the country. We believe that there is exceptional circumstance to warrant this court to grant our application. We urge this court to resolve the issue, the sole issue we raised, and find our application meritorious in the interest of justice and unity of the country. And federal government's lawyers added. However, Kanu's lawyer, Mike Uzekome San, SAN, urged the appellant courts to dismiss federal government's application, which he said was tantamount to seeking the stay of the liberty of a citizen. Uzekome argued that contrary to FG's position, Kanu's release from detention will guarantee peace in both the southeast and the country. I believe so. It will guarantee it. It will guarantee. All you need to do is to keep an eye on him. Nobody, if we could come to that point where we can now do business with an individual by saying, okay, you come, your boys can help us take care of this region. Don't let them steal our oil again. This is a contract. He's an individual. He's a Nigerian. And let me tell you, most of these guys, I'm not so familiar with that region, but then most of the guys that are being used by these people to carry out this protection of pipelines and all of that, these guys, majority of them were formerly militants, destroying pipelines. All what has just been done is to now realign that mentality to become productive. It was destructive before, but now it's becoming productive. It's become productive. It's just the use. It's just I feel personally, the release of Nnamdi Kanu will guarantee security in that part. Not even now that elections are coming close. I wonder. I saw a CCTV camera video of how those soldiers were being shot and killed, at that checkpoint. Oh, come on. They didn't know that they were coming. They just came at them at once, palm, and in fact, the guy went down straight. I saw that video and I was like, wow. And these guys don't stop walking. They're always on the road, trying to keep everybody safe and sound. Well, Zekome went forward and said, in fact, my lord, on the contrary, the release of Nnamdi Kanu actually bring peace and tranquility to the southeast in particular and the nation in general. Do you know that somebody burnt his car when somebody in the southeast actually burnt his car when Nnamdi Kanu was declared free? He said he had promised. There was a celebration, there was jubilation in their home and all of that. So you can't just, you see, when we're dealing with people of influence and affluence, we just need to be very, very careful. Well, this was demonstrated after the judgment of this court that ordered the release of the respondent. Immediately the judgment was delivered. There was so much joy and happiness in the entire southeast. There was so much jubilation and merriment. So much jubilation and merriment. So much jubilation and merriment. I saw it. Saw all of that. He argued that Dokubo's case was different from that of Kanu. According to him, while Dokubo applied to be granted bail pending the determination of the charge against him, in Kanu's case, the appellate court had already terminated his trial and ordered his release. There are two different things. Rely on the case of Olisa Motua versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. Kanu's lawyer argued that the law forbade the grant of stay of execution in a criminal case. He told the court that the IPOB leader did not jump bail, stressing that he only escaped from the country to save his life after soldiers illegally invaded his house in 2017 in an operation that led to the death of 28 persons. That's serious. And the memories of those people gone, just like that. Just like that. Zekome actually argued that the federal government, being in contempt of the judgment of the appellate court, could not approach it to seek any further or favorable order. They are already in contempt of order of this court. The application is therefore nothing but a slap on the face of this court. And that's true. After the three-man panel of the panel of justice of the appellate court, led by Justice Aruna Sanami, had listened to both sides, it reserved its ruling till a date to be communicated to the parties. Meanwhile, 6 Igbo traditional rulers yesterday stormed the court to demand the release of the detained IPOB leader. The monarchs, who were all dressed in their regalia, said that they were in the court to show solidarity to their son, even as they stayed and observed the proceeding till the end. The traditional rulers that were in the court include His Royal Highness, His Royal Majesty Eze Innocent Wagwe, Secretary Umaya Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Majesty Eze Nnamdi Ofoegbu, Chairman Ohohu Council of Traditional Rulers, and His Royal Majesty Eze Iheyichukwu Izegbo, Chairman Ibeku Council. Others are His Royal Majesty as a Pastor Philip Ojo Ajomiwe, immediate past Chairman Umaya North Council, and His Royal Majesty Eze Edi Ibe Abuchu, former Chairman Umaya North Council, and His Royal Majesty Eze Ben Oriako Okwano Local Government. It will be recalled that the appellate court had, in a judgment delivered on the 13th of October, ordered Kanu's release from detention, even as it terminated further proceedings on the case the federal government entered against him. The court said it was satisfied that federal government flagrantly violated all known laws when it forcibly rendered Kanu Kenya to the country for continuation of his trial. It held that such arbitrary use of power by the Nigerian government divested the trial court of the jurisdiction to continue with Kanu's trial. Though federal government had since gone to the Supreme Court to challenge the judgment, it, however, in line with the rules, it approached the Court of Appeal to seek a stay of execution of the verdict. Well, this is still Serious Matters on Nnamdi TV, and that's just an update on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed IPOB. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to share our videos with others, like our videos, and also subscribe. Also touch the notification button so that you can always know when we come up with news that make the round. This is still Serious Matters on Nnamdi TV. My name is Olukunle Abraham. Please do enjoy the rest of your day, and please don't forget to share this video with others. I appreciate it.